Good morning, my name is Peter James. I'm here with Eric Swartz and we are talking about mental health and well-being through traumatic experiences. And both Eric and I, both in the last week, have had some traumatic experiences with close family friends, and we thought it was probably a really good time to stop and revisit that. Now, Eric has joined us in the last month or so. His specialist area is in psychology and organizational psychology. So Eric is an excellent yoga teacher, and we thought it was a fantastic a combination to bring Eric along and have a chat about how to deal with trauma and stress in your life. Now, Eric, what is your personal philosophy on mental health in traumatic situations?
Thank you, Peter. For me, I believe that maintaining a healthy mental state of being is an ongoing process. So a lot of people think that everything will be fine if I have all my ducks in a row and nothing changes. But the truth of the matter is that things in your life will always change, whether you welcome it or not. And typically the more we resist whatever happens to us, the more we tend to struggle and the more we tend to suffer as a result of that. So definitely perpetuate what it is that makes you healthy, that keeps your mind clear, that helps you to stay grounded, to stay focused, to stay happy, energized, have some joy in your life, but also check in periodically to make sure that those things are still working for you, because as your experiences change, as your world shifts around you change, your inner landscape changes, and what worked for you yesterday or last year to keep your mental health in check might not work for you today.
So what you're really saying is that I guess it shouldn't be an event-based activity. It's part of living a healthier and well-balanced life.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a comprehensive experience. And especially when trauma shows up, it's really easy to give up or take a break from the things that help you to stay healthy and to feel good. And maybe that's appropriate sometimes, but once your security system that you created for yourself starts to erode, it's a lot harder to turn the ship back around.
For sure, yeah. So what are some of the consequences you've seen of trauma and I guess disruptive situations in people's lives?
Yeah, everyone processes trauma differently. And before I even answer that, I just want to go back a moment to talk about the nature of trauma itself. So it's a really contextual idea of trauma. So what might be traumatic for you might not be traumatic for me. So you could have your house broken into and have your prized collection of something or something else stolen or robbed, and you could think, man, thank God I wasn't home, no one got hurt, we're all safe, we're all fine. I could get robbed, have the exact same stuff stolen from my house, and be completely traumatized by it. I could feel unsafe in my own home. I could be constantly in a state of fear. I could be really reactive and compensating in a lot of unhealthy ways. So whether it's death in your family or losing your job or getting your house burgled, we're all going to process the situation differently. So with that said, if you are having a really difficult time with something and it really is truly traumatic, it can lead to anxiety, depression, a lot of kind of really personal symptoms, but what we often overlook is how it can affect the quality of our relationships. So if you have a partner or children, or you're close with your parents or your friends, kind of that anxiety that you're feeling as a result of your trauma can inform your relationships.
And they're part of the long-term effects of trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. And no one wants to alienate their partner or their close ones on purpose. Like no one wants to do that, but it does happen when you're faced with loss or change or trauma. And the paradox and the irony of all of that is that person is likely your biggest support network. So we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot a lot of times when we do experience these traumatic events, and that's because A, we don't know how to process it correctly, and B, we don't know how to ask for help in the right way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So what are some of the focus activities that people could do to, I guess, prevent those negative consequences of trauma?
This is another paradox as well, and I absolutely love that question. For the type A folks out there who are used to just really plowing through, picking up the pieces and moving on, that actually might not always be the best strategy, because it glosses over this really important period of time of processing and turning inward to examine not necessarily the events that happened, but examine how you responded to those events that happened to you.
Yeah.
So we're oftentimes so in a hurry to move on that we miss, again, the inner landscape of what's happening. So that's step one.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear when I'm saying this, it's not necessarily like brooding or sulking, but it is pausing just to take inventory.
Yes.
And that is such a crucial step.
Yes.
And it's really critical that in that time period, we also bring in a strong element of compassion and self-care, because we can tend to blame ourselves for whatever happened to us, or blame someone else. And blaming isn't going to advance anyone.
Yeah.
So just kind of witness what's going on.
Yes.
Right? And so after that period, after that really, really important period, that's when you can go on to practice the self-care.
Yeah.
That's when you can take care of yourself, and only really you know what that's going to look like for you. So it could be, your martial arts, your meditation, your long walks, seeing a professional therapist, going for a swim in the ocean. It could be any number of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess the trauma of losing a job is very easy because it's quite contextual and situational. It's very easy to blame the company, or blame your boss, or blame your co-workers, or blame the context you're in without actually looking at yourself.
Right. And looking at yourself isn't necessarily admitting that it's your fault or that you did any wrongdoing. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but that's not the point of the exercise.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. What got you to that point, brewing over that, is not going to help you moving forward.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, once you find yourself in that situation, there is only walking forward from there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how would you get started for yourself? I mean, you're a health professional across a number of different layers, psychology, all through yoga and the training you've done. What is some advice for people as to how to get started after a traumatic event?
Well, definitely that moment of pausing.
Yeah.
And I think it's one thing that we often overlook is asking for help in very specific ways.
Okay. Yeah.
So, if your house is on fire, you probably scream, help, help, help. And someone with common sense would know, oh, I need water or fire department. But you can't assume that everyone has common sense or that the issue is as obvious as a house on fire.
Yes.
Right? Your inner landscape, again, that's just a really complex part of who you are.
Yeah.
So if you need help with time management, if you need help with confidence, if you need help with a resume, if you need help with coaching, look for that and ask for it, and be specific about what it is you're asking for. And that means that you've got to do the searching to know yourself what it is that you're asking for.
Yes. Yeah, certainly. I think if you're in a situation where a traumatic event has occurred and you're not armed with the information, or you haven't had to go through that before, such as losing a job, I guess some people close down. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what they don't know. And I guess a lot of people start to become an island at that point and think that they can plow through, as you say, ignoring the help around them, both professionally, family and friends. And you're saying that's to get started, that's a time to embrace that support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that leads to a really good point about having the value of a coach. A coach is someone you can go to when you kind of don't know what to do necessarily. Like, I know I should be doing something, but I don't know what to do. And people around you really, really want to help you, but when you come to loved ones and say, I don't know what to do, that's when you're opening yourself up to a litany of suggestions and help, which
Yes.
you may or may not necessarily be asking for.
Yes, yes.
When really maybe all you want is just someone to kind of listen and be there and ask questions and take an interest in your experience. But we're so oriented towards problem solving.
Yes, yes.
Sitting-
Everyone has some advice, and not all of it's accurate or good.
Or welcome,
Exactly.
for
yes.
that matter.
Yes, yeah. Sometimes you just want someone to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much, Peter James and Eric Swartz from Career Life Transitions. If you are going through a traumatic event and you're looking for some professional assistance through that, job loss, resumes, LinkedIn, those type of things, then please give us a call. Thanks very much.
Thanks.